Failure is inevitable. If no one has told you yet, you're gonna fail. You're going to fail. What are you gonna do when you fail? Welcome back for another episode of Let's Have Breakfast. Welcome to another year. Welcome to January. We are fresh on starting new goals, turning a new chapter, starting ourselves off on a really positive note. You probably started the first week of the new year cleaning, making sure everything was in order, journaling, waking up early, doing all of the goals that you set out for yourself. Now that we're in the third week of the year, you're probably a little bit off of what you set out for yourself in the beginning of the year. You've probably let some of your old routines and old bad habits sneak back in when you really planned on changing how you acted this year and really changing things for yourself. Society does not prepare us for what our failures look like. We are constantly taught in school and in life that we need to set goals, we need to continue to raise the bar, we need to really put ourselves out there and continue to try, and like if you fall down, pick yourself back up. But no one tells you what to do when you fall down. Like, you can continue to prepare over and over again. You can save your money, you can have a 5-year plan, you can have all of these things, but you don't know how you'll react until you're standing in the face of your failure. Failure is something that I faced head on a lot last year. I failed in so many ways that I didn't anticipate. I had really high goals for myself. I was really excited about some of the goals I had, and that can all change very quickly. I'm not going to say last year humbled me, but at the same time, I spent a lot of time dwelling on these failures. I think when people talk about fight, flight, or freeze, that applies to failure too. Some people, their reaction to failure, they're going to fight it. They're going to take it kind of easily. They're going to reassess, reevaluate, and then pick themselves back up and go back at it. The people that have kind of that flight tendency, they're going to run away. They're going to see conflict and be like, you know what? I'm good. That wasn't even my goal. I don't really care about this. Like, I'll find something else. Those of us that freeze, like me, I take failure so personally. And I'm not saying that's a good reaction. This is something that I'm working on this year because I don't want to be the person that freezes. But for those of us that freeze, we tend to look at failure as the end all be all. Like, this is it. I failed. I can never do anything again. We're a little bit dramatic. Like, those of us that freeze, we're a little bit dramatic. In order to handle failure well, you have to prepare yourself for what the reality is. It's really important to set goals. At the same time, it's important to set your expectations for if your goals don't work out. There are so many uncertainties in life. To be honest, failure fucking sucks. There's no way to beat around the bush. There's no way to coddle yourself into feeling better about it. Failure sucks. But it's what you do with that failure that ultimately will make or break you. Once upon a time, I was a college graduate with high ambitions. I thought I would get a job as soon as I graduated college because I was talented, because of everything I did in college. I was, the overachiever. I always wanted more. So I thought, I have a beefy resume. Like, who wouldn't want me? And the reality of it was a lot of people. And that's something, not only do they not prepare you for in college, but that's something I wasn't prepared for myself. I had every expectation that I was going to get something right away. Fast forward, when I quit my full-time job, I also thought, I'm going to get something right away. Like, people want me. Like, I have an attractive resume. I have all the skills. I'm perfect for these roles. And the reality of that was not correct. And I think too, as we're in this season of kind of layoffs and it being a harder job market in general, there are probably people listening or watching that maybe just got laid off or maybe don't really know how to pick themselves up from such a hard situation like losing your job. The truth is, you just have to keep going. There's no other option. It's one of the hardest things you have to do when you are in such a low place, when you have lost everything, all your expectations are kind of shattered, your hopes, your dreams, at least what it feels like in the moment is that your hopes and dreams are kind of washed away and you don't really see the next steps because this is how you planned your life out. Like, you had this 5-year plan and now in year 2, everything just kind of completely changed. And so it's like, what do I do now? But the truth is, just starting is enough. Yeah, you failed. So what? So does everybody else. I think there's this common misconception that you're the only person on earth that's going to fail, and that in the moment it feels like no one else has ever experienced this, no one else has ever gone through this. It's very much a poor me, why me mentality. In order to move on and in order to get yourself back up, you just have to start. And maybe starting looks like just getting out of the bed. I know for me, when I feel like I failed or I feel like I messed something up big time or I missed out on an opportunity, I get really sad. It feels like sometimes that I felt destined for an opportunity. I felt like this is exactly where I needed to be. But the universe has a funny way of working out. There are blind spots that you may have something may not be the opportunity you think it is. It's easy to get distracted when you have failed because you just want to feel better. You want something to make you feel better. So lots of time on social media is spent and time putting stuff off, procrastinating, and not starting. You're wasting your time and your potential if you just sit on your ass after you failed. Your failure should be a lesson. It should be a lesson to you that you need to come harder. Your blessings are there, but maybe this wasn't the opportunity for you. Maybe you're misaligned with your purpose. Are you doing things because you want to, or are you doing them because the internet told you to? Maybe you're in routines that are bad habits. Maybe you're doing things that are completely unaligned with what you said you wanted to do this year. And that already should be your red flag, because you are not going to get the blessings you want if you are not aligned with what you need to be doing. The reality is, and the hardest pill to swallow about failure, a lot of instances your failure is because of you. Things could have happened differently, but I also accept that things are the way they are and it happened how it was supposed to. But at the end of the day, if you're not taking accountability for the ways that you are messing up and the ways that you failed, you also aren't going to get any better. It's not going to lighten up for you if you can't take responsibility for the nature in which things played out. Failure can be displayed in so many different ways. Failure can show up in your relationships. It can show up in your friendships. It can show up in your career. Maybe you're not getting the promotion, or maybe you didn't get the job. And actually, I want to take that bit about a promotion or the job a little bit further, because I think it's easy to be like, well, they just didn't want me because XYZ, or I could have performed better at work. But what happens when you're the top person and you're performing perfectly and you still don't get the promotion? For me, I view that as a personal failure, because you need to know when it's time to get out. You need to understand your personal value and what you bring to the table in relationships, in your professional career in general. You just need to know how you show up. And if you know you are crossing all the boxes off, you are doing an excellent job, there's never any questions, and you just can't seem to understand why you wouldn't have gotten the promotion, I think that's when you take that and you understand, okay, it's been my season to exit. It was time for me to go. They don't understand, they don't recognize my value, and there's no point in you being anywhere in spaces and rooms where you are not valued. And I know it's easier said than done, because, Jadyn, it takes time to look for a job. It takes time and energy and effort. At the same time, all of that is being taken away from you when you walk into spaces that you are not valued. Your no coincides with failure. If you do not have the ability to say no, and you don't have the ability to recognize that you have value and that you are important and that you deserve the highest level and highest quality of life, if you can't recognize this, you are going to fail, and they are going to go together real bad. We're talking about recognizing value and being important and all of these amazing things. At that same time, you are not your biggest failure. It's really easy when you fail to beat yourself up and feel like everything you do is wrong. Everyone fails. It's just what they do with that failure that changes the game. Take Issa Rae, for example. If I could trade lives with anybody, I would trade with Issa for a day and just see how she lives and how she does it, because she not only has climbed this level of success, but she also is very dedicated to her work. You can tell that she really cares about writing. She really cares about producing. She is just this amazing, phenomenal creative. And I feel like they just don't make them like Issa anymore. They don't. Or they do, and they're just not famous yet. Issa Rae is a hustler. Started out on YouTube making her series and doing it with whatever budget she had. Whatever resources, whatever time, she made it happen while she was still working a full-time job. When I say just start, that's what I mean. She didn't have the full production team. She had an idea that she knew was something. She knew it would be of value to somebody. And she took that and did it. I remember her doing a podcast interview with Kevin Hart. I think it's on Heart to Heart. And she talked about how she had a pilot reach HBO. Before Insecure, she had a pilot reach HBO. And they went through the process of everything. And then at the last minute, it got dropped. Can you imagine what would have happened if Issa Rae took that failure and just said, you know what? I'm done. That's it. I tried. Farewell. Can you imagine the trajectory of her life if she had given up in that spot? We would not have the amazing gyms we have today. So think of yourself in those shoes. You are Issa Rae. I know we would all love to be. You have to pick yourself back up. You have to get back up, continue to show up for yourself, and make it happen. It's okay to be upset for a little bit. Beyonce says she only lets herself be upset. I think it's like a day. 24 hours. Be upset about it and move on. Continue to go. Because if you give up, you will never unlock your full potential. You cannot allow yourself to lose it all because you failed once. You're gonna fail. You're going to fail over and over and over and over again in this lifetime. There is no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Whether it's a big failure, whether it's a small failure, you are going to continue to fuck up over and over and over again. If you quit the moment you smell failure, you're never gonna accomplish anything. For those of you that are watching this video, those of you that are listening to this podcast, you genuinely care about showing up for yourself. You care about the value you bring to the world. You care about yourself and others and doing the damn thing. So why are you scared of failure? There's no reason to be. You are going to fail, and that's okay. Because we all are. It's just what you do with that failure that's going to change the trajectory of your life. I failed. Not only did I fail, I fucking failed. I now know what it feels like to hit that bottom. And while it's something I don't wish on people, it's something that I had to experience and I had to grow from in order to really understand where I want to be in life and how I can get there. And it kind of instilled a little bit more hustle and humility in me that I don't know that I had before. And it really challenged me to be creative. So while I failed, I am learning from that failure, and I am taking everything I learned and really applying it to a long-term plan and being able to recover from that. It's a matter of now getting back in the game and making yourself that again. You really only see the successes after they're successful. So keep that in mind as you continue to grow. Everything that makes this podcast possible is because of you guys. Let's fail together. We've got this. We're going to make 2024 the best year of our lives. And just understand that it starts with you.